Hello students, Sairam. Welcome back to social studies class. Children, this is our part 2 on chapter 1, that is the globe, a model of the earth. In our last session we completed with the two topics, that is the shape of the earth and the globe. In our today's session, we are going to focus on the north and south poles, the northern and southern hemispheres, marking latitudes and features of latitudes. Before we start with our today's session, children, let us have a quick recapitulation about what we studied in our last class. The shape of the earth. The earth, as you know, is round in shape. But when you look around you, it appears to be flat. The earth appears flat to us because the earth is so much bigger than us. Geographers have developed different means of representing the earth on a smaller scale to make its study. Therefore, the two important tools that we use for this purpose are globes and maps. The globe is a small model of the earth. It shows us the shape and location of the continents, oceans and seas on a smaller scale. The earth's axis is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees to the vertical. So now we are going to start with our today's topic, that is the north and south poles. The earth constantly rotates or turns on its axis of rotation. So this axis is an imaginary line passing through the earth. Okay, this axis is an imaginary line passing through the earth that points north and south. Look at the picture, children. The earth has two poles. The northernmost point is the north pole and the southernmost point is the south pole. Okay, so the two end points of the axis of rotation, okay, are called the poles. To the north is the north pole, okay, and to the south is the south pole. Next, the northern and southern hemispheres. The imaginary line which divides the earth into two equal halves is called the equator. This line. Okay, so here is the equator which divides the earth into two equal parts. Midway between the poles is an imaginary line circling the earth. It is called the equator. It divides the earth into two equal parts, which is called as hemispheres. Children, here the diagram easily explains that the area lying above the equator is the northern hemisphere, whereas the area below the equator is the southern hemisphere. Okay, So to the north of the equator is the northern hemisphere, and to the south of the equator is the southern hemisphere. I hope it is clear, children. Okay. Now apart from this, here we can see few lines. Some are running horizontal, some are running vertical. So what kind of lines are these, children? Yes, very good. These are latitudes and longitudes. Now let us learn in detail. Latitudes and longitudes. To locate places on the globe, horizontal and vertical lines are drawn on it. Okay, horizontal and vertical lines are drawn on it. Now what it is? Horizontal lines, what is it called? And vertical lines, what is it called? Let us see. The horizontal lines are drawn parallel to the equator. Okay, we all know equator is in the center of the earth. Okay, that is horizontal. So the horizontal lines are drawn parallel to the equator like this. Okay, and these lines are called as latitude. What is it, children? Yes, it is called as latitude. The horizontal lines are drawn parallel to the equator. Like the equator, they go round the earth, and they are called as latitudes or parallels. Okay. The vertical lines are semicircles that run from the North Pole to the South Pole. Okay, the vertical lines. So these are the vertical lines. Okay, these are the vertical lines here. Can you all see, children? It is semicircle. Okay, the vertical lines are semicircles that run from North Pole to the South Pole. North Pole to the South Pole. Okay, they are semicircle. They run from the North Pole to the South Pole, and these lines are called as longitudes or meridians. Okay, it is called as longitudes or meridians. Okay, children. So horizontal lines are called as latitudes or parallels, whereas vertical lines are called as longitudes or meridians. Now these latitudes and longitudes are marked in degrees. Okay, degrees and minutes. See you on the screen. Degrees. Okay, 0 degree, 30 degree, 60 degree, 30 degree. Okay, these latitudes and longitudes are marked in degrees and minutes. The equator. Children, the equator is marked as 0 degree, whereas the North Pole, okay, the North Pole is marked as 90 degree, whereas South Pole is marked as 90 degree south. Okay, the North Pole is marked as 90 degree north, and the South Pole is marked as 90 degree south. Children, there are 180 degrees of latitude in all. Okay, so total how many latitudes are there? Yes, total 180 degrees of latitudes, wherein there are 90 degrees of latitude in the northern hemisphere and 90 degrees of latitude in the southern hemisphere. So overall there are 180 degrees of latitude, and it is divided equally in both the hemispheres. Now let us focus on the features of latitudes. Latitudes run parallel to each other in the east to west direction. Now just imagine that this is the earth. So the latitudes run from east to west direction. Okay, east to west. Okay, next, they are at an equal distance from each other. So the distance between these latitudes are equal. Okay, they are at an equal distance from each other. All of them form complete circles except the north and south poles, which are points. Now all these lines form the complete circle. Okay, all of them form the circles except the north and south poles, which are points. Except the north and south poles, rest all other latitudes form the complete circles. The latitudes decrease in the length as you move from the equator to the poles. Yes, of course. Now this is the circle. Now here is the equator. See, now the size of the latitudes goes on decreasing. Getting, children? Yes, the latitudes decrease in the length as you move from the equator to the poles. Okay, I hope the topics are clear, children. So here we come to the end of our today's session. In our next class, we shall know more about important latitudes, marking longitudes, features of longitudes, and the global grid. Okay? Until then, do take care of yourself and goodbye.